זמן, לחבר את הרצמה עם זה לא פשוט.
Oh, you have a regular film. A regular film, they change the plan to make this one.
Even though we already had 2 weeks in Parshas Nosai.
Here.
The beginning of this Parsha is that Aaron HaKohen is jealous. It said that Lo Yehoyu Lo Yehu V'Lo Yishiftoi in the Chanukah Sanasim. He wanted to know why. The Eibusha said, don't worry, that you have something special. You're Madlik the Natus. What's so special is Madlik the Natus? So the Ramban said, because the Karbonos, at the Churban Beis HaMikdash, there's no Karbonos. But Adlokas HaNatus, there's still a union of Adlokas HaNatus. What's Adlokas HaNatus? You do Miftzayim, and you get another Yid to light Shabbos candles. That's when you're doing Adlokas HaNatus. When you do Miftzayim and you light a candle and another Yid's Neshama, you're doing Adlokas HaNatus. And that's the job of Aaron HaKohen. Let's go to a beautiful Rashi. This didn't end up being a Mugadik Sicha, but that Sicha, the Rebbe turned to Zalman Jaffe and asked him to count how many shilas he asked. The Rebbe used to have sometimes a shtick where he used to ask, here,
10 questions.
10, 12, 13, 15, 18. So sometimes the Rebbe used to do this thing with Zalman Jaffe.
He was an alter chassid?
Zalman Jaffe nicht gewen kein alter chassid. He was an old bloke from Manchester. He was a bloke from Manchester. I don't know how he ended up in Chabad. I personally knew him. It was
Maybe I'll be laugh all the time.
I'll tell you what. If the Rebbe was able to make out of him, the Rebbe can make out of any Yid in the world. I have no idea what turned him on Chabad, but it's unbelievable. He got ungevarmt. What happened was that I've been seen. He was a Yid from Manchester, a businessman, and give his garnish from garnish. Okay. I knew him personally. It's a Shem Shabbos. From a Yid, he gets in kosher Shem Shabbos. You come with a Benzi Shem to Manchester. You come with a Yid with a bread and a fire and that. And this businessman was nimshach to him. So, and then he got very. And then Rabbi Shem Tov said, you have to bring Yidden to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, working in the 50s. This guy he wanted to show he's a Cheverman in the whole England. He chartered a plane. To charter a plane. And that started and then he was a funny guy, and he used to write a diary. So he wrote a diary of his Tishrei with the Rebbe since 1958.
Oh, wow.
Who publishes things back then? The Rebbe was like very excited, and the Rebbe gave him a bracha. I remember there was a Himmeldik Azach. The Rebbe told him, you'll write 50 books or something. Maybe I'm making a mistake. The years, you could ask his Einik Klach, they'll tell you B'diuk the Maisa. The Rebbe told him that he'll write a guzma of how many books he'll write, and the Rebbe gave him a bracha, and every time he would write his diary after he would come for Tishrei, he would send to the Rebbe. The Rebbe was very mekadev, and the Rebbe was Himmeldik Azach. The Rebbe asked him to send his son to yeshiva, to university. He said, I'll take a chrayis. The Rebbe they rented a special apartment in the Hazayid from England to have a regular dormitory. The Rebbe personally rented an apartment. It should be a nicer apartment. And they had a few American bochum, English-speaking bochum, because a lot of bochum that at that time were, the Russian
bochum.
Yeah. So my father till today doesn't speak English, so it wouldn't help. So my shver had the schools because he was a Bronx boy and had to get English. So he ended up in that apartment with Avram Jaffe. All their kinder in einer class and Hein Tamid Chachomim, Sidim, Shluchim, every one of them.
So that's
he wrote exactly the amount of books that Rebbe told him. Almost 30. So the last one was Tafshin Nun Beis, right before the Rebbe had the stroke. He was there and he published his 30th book, Vizel. That was it. Mamish, the way the Rebbe told him years before. So the Rebbe had a special thing. He would come right away. He would come to my shver store and he would order a bouquet of flowers for the Rebbetzin. The Rebbe has so many bouquets already. She said, what should I do? If you come to my house, you see on the table that green vase. My shver gave it to us when we got married because the Rebbe told him, I have too many vases that you sent me. So go to the basement and take as many vases as you want. So he took a bunch of vases, and we have two of them in our house.
No, this was sitting at the other table.
Yeah. So the Rebbe used to smile at him. The Rebbe used to come from Brega. The Rebbe used to give him the job. He should count how many shilas he asked on the Rashi. They used to turn how many shilas? 6, 7, 8. Okay, Haltz Cheshvan. This was one of those sichas. Vayim Hashem HaMoshe. Nasi echel layem, nasi echel layem, akridos karbanim lachanukas hamizbeach. Wow. Okay, I'm skipping now. Hikriv is carbonic has kesef akash shimon mayam mishkala mizrak echad kesef shim shekel b'shekel kodesh nemelayim soilis mincha v'lo b'shem mincha kafak asarazam like teret parechad ayelechad kevesach b'shasalar siris imechel achat zevach shlom baka shnaim elam chamish atudem chamish kvasim eshana chamisha ze korban nesana ben tzur b'yem hashlishi nosim levnei zulin Eliyav ben Chela. It's interesting. Rashi, all the Geschmack at Rashi is on the second, even though the first one was Nachshon ben Aminodov, Rashi doesn't say any pshatim in Nachshon ben Aminodov. Everything, all the juicy Rashis is Bayom Hasheni. Okay, that's another discussion why. And it's a double poshet really, because in the first Karmonis, who says there's an emes, whatever, that was the Karmonis. But then the Torah keeps on repeating again and again what the Karmonis are. Obviously, there's an emes to it. Anyway, Rashi, the first Rashi over here is Hikriv Nesanam Ben Sur. Hikriv is Karbonai. Mata Malami Hikriv B'Shifta Shayisocha. Mashaloi Neve B'Chol HaShvotim. The second pasuk, it was bothering Rashi that in the next pasuk says Hikriv is Karbonai Kares Kesef, and all the other Nesim it doesn't start Hikriv is Karbonai. All the other one is Karbonai Kares Kesef. It's not Hikriv is Karbonai. Why is it only by Nesanel ben Tzur it says Hikriv is Karamoni? The fish about Reuven be eater. Reuven came and started screaming. Omar Achi Acher Shekidmani Yehuda Akrivani Acherov.
Supposed to be Reuven Shimon Levi.
Yeah, what's going on over here? That they should meet the korbanos should be like they're traveling, like the golem are camped. And the degel was the first degel that traveled was Yehuda, and with Yehuda was Yisachar and Zvulun, one to the right and one to the left. Why does it say hikriv korbani without a yud? In the first time it says in the pasuk. Bayom Hasheni Hikriv, it says with a yud, and the next pasuk it says Hikriv is Karbana without a yud. Why? Shumasha Hakriv Loshen Tzivui Shemipia Gvura Nitztava Hakriv. That's why the first time in the pasuk it says Hikriv with a yud, and the second time without a yud. Mao Hikriv Shnei Pa'amim. And why does it say twice Hikriv? Why Taka the pasuk? It says it's repetitive. And then hikriv is karboni. It could be the first time could say hikriv without a yud. Why do we have to say twice hikriv? For two reasons, he was the second one of all the shvatim. One because they were knowledgeable on Torah. That the Bnei Yisachar were Yoidei Bina Leitim. Chazal learn from here that that's the Volam de Torah, but they were geniuses in setting the calendar.
They did Kiddush Levon.
They did the Kiddush Levon exactly. That I'm right in Perek Zayin that they wrote books on Kiddush Levon v'chulu. That even the Goyim, the scientists, learned from them. Okay. The Achas, the other thing is Shem Nosno Eitzel Lanasim Lasada B'Karbonason. They gave the Eitzel. And I found in Rabbi Shabash and Amar Pintul Ben Yoel, Nisano Ben Suri seen Eitzazu. Okay. Yes. Okay. So this is Bemis, the Maimon we learned Shabbos, a little inspired from this Rashi Sicha. The Rebbe had 16 questions over here. 16 questions go through quick, at least the Ikedik Shailas. Demis is the shaila. There's Rashi is like a chock full of madrashim. It seems nice, but when you look, you start pulling it apart. There is first of all, yeah, Rashi usually doesn't ask questions. When Rashi starts, Rashi usually is giving you right away the answer. Here is a little different. Mitamol is asking the question. And why is it that he takes out? He says Hikrev Nasanol Ben Sur, and he skips a few words in the Siya Socher, and he quotes Hakrev as Karbonai. That was by the printer, but still, why is it? Why is that? Number 3. Why does it actually have to add Mashaloi Nemer B'chol Hashvotim? It's obvious. If you look, you'll see Mashaloi Nemer B'chol Hashvotim. And anyway, even if it wasn't a gay, if all the other Shvatim would say he could have come, you'd also ask. It's repetitive. What's the game? And now the 4th shaila is why Taka did Reuven come screaming the second day? What was happening the first day? Why was he sleeping? Was he drinking a seltzer or Coca-Cola? What was he doing the first day? The mitnamol, and the first day he was sleeping, and the next day they come on sleifen. Why? Why Taka? Taka when in the beginning in the parsha when the Nesiim was standing there when they were counting, Reuven was Taka the first, so he could. It's not the pshat that Reuven gegangen schlafen. And then what's the diuk in the Kisvei Yad? A lot of the Kisvei Yad it says Acher shekidmani Yehudi Ochi, not Nar, but a lot of the Kisvei Yad Yehuda Ochi. What's the diuk? Obviously Yehuda is his brother. And then. Why does he add Kidmani? Over here we don't have it. Why did he add Yehuda Och? And then when the Moshe Rabbeinu answers, he says, that's it. You don't have to say anymore. David told me. Now he's explaining. Why does he have to add? He said, why? It's not fair. I should be first. I should be second. I'm the third. Yeah? Okay. What's supposed to be the answer? Listen, Bachirol. That's it. Once you start, when you give an answer, you start explaining too much. Shanish git. That's it. He says, and why does it actually have to add the word lidiklayim? What's the and then another shaila. Rashi later says that he was the second one because of 2 good reasons. First, you tell me because the Eibushat is Hasten, and then you tell me for good reasons, for 2 reasons. It's like, the story, the guy said, could I please get back the Pikodin? He said, first of all, you never gave it to me. Second of all, I returned it. And third of all, I already broke. You said the Eibushat Gehasen, the Eibushat Gehasen. Now you're starting to say there's 2 reasons. What do you think Reuven is going to say now? Just Moshe Rabbeinu should say, Azoy the Eibushat Gehasen. That's it. There's 2 reasons, and there's like multiple reasons going on over here. And then Takazoi, if the Maila is the union of Torah, and the Maila is because he gave the 8, and why Taka's Zvulun is also before Reuven. There was Reuven Esht ends after Zvulun. Okay, so that's the, and also what's the Rashi? The end of Rashi says, oh, by the way, I found a medrash that Nesal ben Sur gave them the 8. And I found it so much. What's the negay? What is it actually trying to add? What's the negay? What's the negay? The ganze business. Okay. The answer is Azoy. The answer is Azoy. The Rebbe says like this. There were 16 questions to tell. At the end, he asked Zalman, and the Rebbe smiled. He said, Toma the Vesnish, it was 16 questions. Oh, okay. So the Rebbe said like this. First, Takazoi, Reuven knows that he lost a little bit because Pachas Kamayim Al Toisa, because he did certain Avedis, he's losing Kahuna and he's losing Malchus. He knows that he lost some things. But still, he has a time of Bechoida, I didn't lose. I lost Kahuna, I lost Malchus. And Yehuda was about, Reuven was about Tshuva. He knew that he got punished. He lost Kahuna and he lost Malchus, but he didn't lose Bechoida. So when it came, if it's Yehuda, his brother Mamish, there's a remes here in the word Yehuda, because Yehuda and him were from the same mother and they were born Betkifa Achas. So I'm not happy, but I was mevater. The first day I saw it happening, it's like we came from Leah, we're two brothers, we're both from the same mother, and it didn't bother me so much. I was upset, but it didn't bother me so much. Because he's fought, there's Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, till Hamad Miledis, they're both from the children of Leah. And he says, I was not happy, but you know what? I kept quiet. But now that you're going to put Sisachta before me, it's not fear. It's nothing to do with Kahuna and Malchus over here. When it was when we count the Yidden, the Abish is said to count the Nesim should stand there, and Reuven was first, and they counted Reuven first. Why should here be different? So Moshe Rabbeinu said it was Mipi Agvura. But he wanted to explain what was the Mipi Agvura. When the Yidden were traveling, why did Reuven not have a taina that he's not traveling first? The Degolim traveled, the Degel of Yehuda was first. And then came the Degel of Reuven, and then the Degel of Ephraim, and then the Degel of Dan. Ich verstehe, but he didn't have tainas. Why? The Rebbe says he could say balabatish. Because they're going in the desert, and there could be goyim that are fighting with them. And Yehuda was considered a giboid. He was a gibor. He was nimshalari. So versteht that just like everyone understands why Don is in the back, everyone understands why Yehuda is in the front. Taka between the two ones in the between. So Reuven was more in the front. It was Degel Yehuda, it was Degel Reuven, and then was Ephraim, and then was Don in the back. Everyone knows why Don is in the back, and everyone knows why Yehuda is in the front.
Who's on the right side of Reuven?
When they were camping, yeah. But when they were traveling, well, this is machloikis, but if they were traveling like a box, but libe de mandoma that they were traveling like in a shura kilu. So there was Degel Yehuda, and then there was Degel Reuven, and then there was Degel Ephraim, and then there was Degel Don. So that he didn't have a taina. So he said that you should know that the Eibushter said that the Hakarovis Hakarbon has to be to say that we travel. And he has to emphasize Lidigleim, because then Reuven is right away going to say, okay, if the Eibushter said Keseda Hamasos, maybe the Eibushter meant the Roshi had the golem. Yehuda, Reuven, Ephraim, Vedon, and then the other ones. Moshe Rabbeinu have to emphasize it's Lidigleim. But Yehuda could still have a taina. It's like Fashtenish. But why? But Hagufa, why should there be connected the Karbonis to the Seder of traveling? Again, my taina is that I am the Bechor. And he says, I lost Kuhuna, I lost Malchus, and why is Yehuda traveling first? But why should I, when it comes to the inauguration of the Beis Hamikdash, why should I not be first? To say Keseder Masos is not good enough. Is not good enough. Taka, the Eibushter said it should be Keseder Masos. But Hagufa, why did the Eibushter say Keseder Masos? So the truth is, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have to say anymore. But Lepoil, Moshe Rabbeinu decided to explain it to him. Mustama was Mipi Agvura. The Eibushter wanted that, just like certain mitzvahs, we don't know the reason. Sometimes we do know the reason. That there's two inyonim that were special by Yisachar. One inyan was Torah. But Torah itself couldn't make that he should be before the Uven and Karovas HaKarbonis, because mind you, Shmei Telot Tzelar Sin, his Taka, cover the Torah is very important. But the inyan of a Bechor is a Din Kedima. So therefore, there was another thing that tipped the scale, the fact that they gave the Eitzah. Everyone was sleeping. The Eibushter said, the Nasim, you guys were all sleeping. The Eden brought all the Karbonis, not the Karbonis, for the money for the building the Mishkan, and you guys were sleeping. And then when you got together, so Nisan ben Sur got up and said,
"It was like you guys
no.
give.
Right. I'm saying this. They said you guys will give Mashahei Machaser and Ono Mashlim. Emes. Yeah, but still, now who gave the Eitzah? Who gave the Eitzah to make that they should be the first ones to bring the Karbonos Fachanukas HaMizbeach? The Eitzah was from Nosin Asachas. The Eibushter said, therefore, so the Eibushter must be given that there was a few nekudas that tipped the scale in the favor of Yisachar, even though L'choyre Reuven had a taina that he had Bechorah. The emesis that's will outside the mile of Torah, as we say, we had last week in the Rashi, that because they were shchenim, oila rosh oila shchenim, remember oila tzadik oila shchenim, Zvulun was moishchem b'sei shevet soifer. But the mila that Yisachar had was that his mila and Torah was the Indian. He knew what's the right time for things. Close means we knew how to set the calendar. But the Rebbe says also you could say, what's the right time to bring the Kabbalah and see him? That's where Rashi emphasizes, Yoide itim, loide bina li'itim. That's why he emphasizes li'itim. Not only Torah, but Avais, when is the right time to do the right thing? But still, what's bothering Rashi is a simple shaila that's in Pshuta Shel Mikra, that L'choida, in every, and this is what we spoke about yesterday in the Maimer. In every Shevet, it says, B'yom HaShlishi Nasi Livnei Zvulun, Eliyav ben Chelan. B'yom HaRevi, Nasi Livnei Reuven, Nasi, whatever. Why is it that by Yom HaSheni it says Nisanel ben Sur first, and then it says Nasi Yisachar? So bother a child, and it's a pasha shayla. I'm sure the shamikra. It's not. You don't have to be a scientist to figure out the shayla. A child who's a machamish is going to ask the shayla. Rashi right away says, "I'll give you an answer for this." That matzosi b'shem Moshe Adarshan, that it wasn't stam say Shevet Yisachar gave the eitzah. It was Taken Sanal ben Sur gave the eitzah, and therefore, but Lepoil he was the nasi of Nesachar. So the Eibishter told Moshe Rabbeinu that Reuben hot atayne, that he's the bechor and he should be makri first. So I'm telling you what you should answer him. There's a few nekudas that tip the scale, and there's the mile of Torah and the mile that he gave this eitzah. But Bazeh Gufa, who gave the eitzah? Not Stam, the whole shevet. It was Nesanel ben Sur gave the eitzah. Nesanel ben Sur gave the eitzah. So the all the kashas are for enfet. I want to look together in the Oirachayim HaKodesh. It's a beautiful word, which the Maimer was really based on this word from the Oirachayim HaKodesh. The Oirachayim says, Zikr Nesanel Nasi Yisachar, Hiktim HaZikorim Shemoy LeZikorim HaNesiyus. Over here, by all the 12 Nesiyim, you say first the Shevet and then the name of the Nasi. Over here, it's reversed. First you say Nesanel Ben Sur and then you say Nasi Yisachar. Lasas legeder amayla gam v'loch shivas anasius. Mashen king shor nasim shigdim zikor anasius lishmon. Because all the nasim, why were they special? Because they were nasi. He was special. That's why he became a nasi. Ubishmoy hiskir zikor natoyre and so is kinyone. Zikor natoyre is nesanal nosan el. Alzer amru kilek toym nasati lachem. And so is kinyone ben tzoyer. Shein natoyre niknes el al yidei yisurim. Kachi darke shel Torah odem kiyamos ba'oil v'ule kitzadze gam kehikir in zikoron shmoy loyme kitzad amifal arosh mishmoy v'hoye boy zochlis nosel of neisocher yoyde ivina leitim. So now the Maimer, if you read the Oirachayim, whatever, the Maimer explains very well what the Oirachayim meant. So the Rebbe says, we have a big stira. On the one hand, we say, Kachi darke shel Torah, pas b'melech Teufel, Maimer meshura tishte, v'aloretz tishten, v'mat oisaken ashrecha v'toivlach. I love this word, like I said, Shabbos, and the word from the Meir Shapiro, who came collecting, and he asked, you know the word? He said, Imata oisaken ashrecha. But the Yeshiva Bachim zalham good. Okay, so Matzad Echad is Pazonel. Matzad Hasheni, we say, the Rambam says that a person can't, Hilchos Tshuva, he says, that a person can't learn Torah if he has a headache. He can't learn Torah if he's poor. He can't learn Torah unless he has a rachmus. Can you do the story of Rebbeinu Tam Tzemach Tzedek? You need to have a bowl with gold coins. Samach rachvus sadas. So, So, 1 second. I need a chovas sadas, so I need a bayis no and kelim noim, and then you're telling me pas b'melech toichel and baloretz tisha. So the Rebbe says the answer is very simple. This is nishkin. It's very, very simple. We say that Mashiach will call madanim etzun kofar. All delicacies will be like dust. What do you mean the delicacies will be like dust? It's like a funny lotion. The Rebbe's word over here was a moeredek word. Just like dust have no chashivas to you. Dust has no chashivas. It's funny. We say, when you're mevatel lechametz, you say leheve efke ke'afra da'ara. So the meforshim say, why do you have to say leheve efke ke'afra da'ara? Leheve ke'afra. No, because the pasuk says afru zahav loy. So maybe a guy is going to say, someone's going to say, this Afra is a posik in EU. Afra Zahav Loy, that he has dust made out of Zov. Zov, Loy, he owned, whatever, it's a posik that this guy, Lamed Vav. Afra Zahav Loy, he was very rich, and he had so much dust, gold dust. So,
by the way, now the soil when they prepared them Alazation, they should go on the cave a couple times, and they had dust made out of gold and throw it out. For the people to take it.
So the Klippa, interessant. We have Fakesh, so there is a union of making very clear when you're making Mevatel the comments. It's Afro de Ara. It's Afro de Ara. No Chivas at all. Chazor to the Rebbe's word, the Rebbe says, what sand is not Chivas to people, right? When Mashiach is going to come, there'll be a lot of Madanim, but it's not going to be Choshev to people. It's not going to be Choshev. Think about the Rebbe HaKodesh. The Gemara says that he was very rich. And about Tarsim, he was very rich. But the Tarfin was very rich. But the money was not Choshev to him. It wasn't. It's nicht Teufels Mokim given. It's nicht Teufels Mokim given. Huh? Right. It's Loinenda. That's as boy said. He was rich, and it was very important for him. So the Romans would give kovid, and the Goyim would give chashivas to the Nasi, v'chulu. But to him, it was loy. It was loy noga v'loy poga. It was ka'afred ara. It was garnished. When Mashiach will come, every yid will be the darga Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. That madanim will be mitzvim ka'ofor. That it can be a lot of madanim, but it's just a hechetinza for me to be able to have a clear head, to learn Torah, to avoid Hashem, to daven, to learn. The Madanim are not here for Madanim. The Madanim are here to open the Chabaras, to build base Menachem Mendel. The Madanim are not here for Madanim. The Madanim are here to avoid Hashem. So the Rebbe says, Nisanel ben Suar means like this. Suar means that his nafshi ka'ofra keltia. He feels bebittel zum Eibischen. He feels like offer. He's a rich man. The Welt gibt him COVID. It doesn't matter if he's a rich man. It doesn't matter that he has a lot of COVID. Shimi, you ready for this? The heaviness on him? Yeah, you're going to be a rich man. I'll have a COVID. But the Shumi is lo noga v'lo poga, because really nafshi ka'ofra keltia, in his neshama, he's only one thing. He wants to be bottled some Eibishn, and through that he could learn Torah. So that's the trick. That's the trick of how to Nasiya Sachor versteht wie man darf lernen Torah. If you want to have Torah, which is nisnos ankeil, the Torah which is nisbenesina, like Chazal said, Eibishter gave the Torah b'matana. Even Moshe Rabbeinu was forgetting it until the Eibishter gave it to b'matana. Why was he forgetting it? Because not check for human being to remember Torah Hashem Tmima. When the Eibishter gave it over Matona, then Moshe Rabbeinu was able to understand it. Kolshkein, me and you, how is it check for us to understand Torah? It's a Matona, but it's a Eibishter. It's not Zinker. It's a Matona from the Eibishter. So, if you want to be Zoicha to Torah, Nisano ben Suar, it has to be Nafshik offer lakeltia. That my neshama is like offer. And if I have a lot of madanim, I have a lot of madanim. It's very good. But to me, it's nishnageya. I'm bittled, and my heart is bottled, and that's a achon in order to be makabel Torah. And that's the pshat. That's why over here it says hikir nisanol ben sur before nasi yisachar, because the trick why take was nisanol ben sur earlier, because the mile of Torah, and the mile of and the kinyan of Torah is through Nos and Kael ben Tzur. The Rebbe says also that just like there is a Mishim Shad and Bina, there's a Lamed Beis Nesivas Chachma. Just like by the 50 Shad Bina, we learned in the Maimer this week that you climb into 49 gate, the 50th gate, the Eibush has to give you b'matana. The same thing in the Lamed Beis Nesivas Chachma, there's 32 roads for Chachma, but the 31 a person could do himself. The number 32, the Eibishter has to open for us. So Lamed Aleph Nesivus are the regular Nesivus. Lamed Beis is the special thing that's left. that the Eibishter give. So there is Lamed Aleph Nesivus Chochma, which is Nasan Keil, the Eibishter gives it to us. And that's in the schools of Ben Tzur, that Eid is Bebittel. And through that, the Eid is Zeichet to Torah. Bottom line, we have to be, we know that the order of the day is to have Tzur, that we should have Beda Milas. We should have Madanim Metzuim Ka'ofor. It should be Madanim, and it should be Metzuim Ka'ofor. And Mitzvah Shem, with that would be Zohar.
This will be easier to learn.
Atazoi. Should be able to learn Torah.
Easier. Because it's Adam Kiamis.
If a person doesn't learn Torah, unless it's the same idea as the Pirkei Avos, that a person has to kill himself over learning Torah, which is the idea of bittul.
It's a possible Chumash.
Yeah, Adam Kiyamas Boel, and Chazal say, "Ein Adam." That person doesn't learn Torah. What does it mean that he kills himself? So this says the same thing. It doesn't mean chas v'shalom that he's hurting himself, that he's.
Why is a big bat? You know, why is a big bat pasuk?
Why is a big
specific pasuk? You know, it's talking about like come and die.
Because that's why because the Gemara learns from that. The Gemara learns almost Adam ki almost ba'oil, that a person has to kill himself, and the way we understand it, not the pshat chas v'shalom, that he should suffer, he should have sleep deprivation, not eat enough. It means they should have bittul. Misa is the inyan of bittul. This is the inyan of bittul. And I started telling my children this story recently in Motzei Shabbos. There's a story that the Frierdiker Rebbe wrote to his daughter, the Rebbetzin, which is, it's translated, The Making of a Chassid. Right? It's a beautiful story.
Out the past 5 months. I'm trying to get it.
It used to be the Dvar Malchus. It used to be in the end of the
They had it once in the Dvar Malchus. So I started doing it with my children. So the story starts about Reb Chaim. He was once a Porush, and he became, and his friends, one of Talmidei Baal Shem Tov was makarev him to become a Talmid of Baal Shem Tov. But even after he became a Talmid of Baal Shem Tov, he was still like he changed in a way that he became Talmid of the Baal Shem Tov. But he was still like a very extreme guy. He was still like a very eccentric, super eccentric guy. It's not like he became a Talmid of Baal Shem Tov and he's changed. Like he was, and in the beginning of the story, it describes how he was makarev a young bochrel to become a chassid. So and this young bochrel sees that he sleeps hardly at night, and instead of having a pillow, they called him Chaim Klotz, because instead of living on a pillow, he would put a klotz under his head. A klotz, a log. He put a log under his head. So the young boy, Simcha Zisla, says he was very choshev in the town. Everyone knew he was a big Talmid Chacham. He said, Rebbe, why can't you sleep with a regular pillow? So he said, Chazal say that the sleeping is echad mishishim and misa. It's a 60th of death. So what should I sleep more? Or should I sleep less? It's a 60th of death. I'm trying to sleep as little as possible. I kendach verschlafen de Jahren, he said in Yiddish. Kendach verschlafen de Jahren. So that's the Indian of Adam Kiyomus. And a person that's what the Oyer Chaim means. A person is mevatel himself. It's a Indian in the nefesh. It's an Indian in nafsh that a person is mevatel himself. So maybe, and through that he's zoicha to be able to, because the Emes says, how could you say a human being should be zoicha to be to get to understand Torah? So through the bittul that a person is mevatel himself to Eibush, he's zoicha to be able to understand Torah. Anyway, that's the nakuda d'Oyer Chaim. Okay.
I said the Bible this week is the Mark is Aaron because he is the one that connected the Torah to Eden. He is the one that said the Behaaloscha.
Yeah.
Because the Torah is so powerful that could wake up the neshama from every. The Eibishter is on there, we as on there, full like cool. There. I always tell people, you want to lose weight, you have to do exercise. You can't pay somebody to do it for you.
Since I'm already mentioned the story of this, there was a funny story that was this year one of the Chabad websites. The the Frierdiker Rebbe wrote this letter in a place Purkesdorf. He was Nebuch sick, and he sent the Rebbe went with his father-in-law, and then he dropped him off there, and then he was there for 6 weeks for healing. There was a Yid that owned this place, and the Frierdiker was there to get healed. So there's a picture of the Frierdiker Rebbe sitting at a table and writing a letter. Now, we don't know which letter he wrote, but we know that this letter was a few hundred pages, and he wrote it to the Rebbetzin, a few hundred pages. And he wrote it to the Rebbetzin. So a story about the Talmid Baal Shem Tov, how one Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov told him that this is a famous word, that a Yid could live 70, 80 years in order to do a Toiva Yid, comes from that letter. That there was a Talmud, there was a Gon Otzum, and they told the Baal Shem Tov that he has a Chaver who is a finstere Misnagit, and that he's a Porush, and and the Baal Shem Tov said, no, so why don't you go be Makar of your friend? So, and he spent a few years being Makar of his friend. It wasn't like, overnight. This guy was a tough nut to crack. All the humor in the story is how he meets his friend, and the guy thinks he's holier than thou. And he get them, and sometimes he gives them a little bit of a schwitzbud, and they have these heated discussions, and eventually he brings them to the Baal Shem Tov. And it's a very, very geschmacka story. It's on Hebrew books, yes. So either you could print it out, Making of a Chassid. If you want to read it in Yiddish, it's in Igris Kodesh from the Frierdiker Rebbe Chele Gimel. If you want in Hebrew also they have it translated. But in English, The Making of a Chassid. It's very, very geschmack. So this year on, I think on Nash.org, what happened was, it was a guy, he decided he wants to find if this place is still around. So he went to Vienna, he asked around. Yeah, there's a little place called Purkesdorf, or it's outside Vienna. He found the building. He found that room, the same furniture. I'm telling you, see picture inside picture. See a picture of Frierdiker Rebbe sitting there. If some one piece of furniture in the room is a little different. It can only happen in a crazy place like, Germany or Austria. The building looks the same from the outside. There's a picture of the Frierdiker Rebbe sitting on the outside of the building. And there's a picture of the Frierdiker Rebbe strolling in the garden, and then there's a picture of him sitting at the table and writing the letter. And then they show you 3 pictures. The place looks exactly the same. It's Purkesdorf, a village right outside Vienna. It was a sanitarium, belonged to a Yid. The Germans took it away from him, and now it's a hotel or something. And when you come into the lobby of the hotel, on the side there's a room. The Zalbezach cooked is the Zalbezach. Now he's gonna have the pouches coming off the time.
When I remember in France and to visit his mother, someplace there's a porch, and there were like 2 handles.
Yeah. That picture.
So people go to this place to take a picture of it. Same place.
Okay, sehr good.
Right?
I have a friend, Cher Cohen. Not this one, a different one. It's fresh.
This one is also your friend.
The making of Hasidim.
Oh, the making of Hasidim? It's probably it.
Making of a chassid.
Not the making of a Chassid?
No, it's the making of a chassid these days. Now it's called the making of a
I
chassid.
figured the head.
It's different than
It's probably this, yeah. Probably is.
somewhere.
Yeah, a letter written by the previous Rebbe.
So
Yeah,
the Frierdiker Rebbe is
translated
to
from
write
Yiddish.
stories.
I don't necessarily
If a person has patience to tell over the story, it's unbelievable.
So he used to write stories.
Huh?
60 pages.
Yes, I'm not reading it for my kids like this. I read 10 pages and I give them a digest of like 10 pages at a time. And then I read a few pieces of Yiddish that are, like really funny.
It's so long, the story is.
Yeah. It's a very long story.
Detail.
Yeah. It's very geschmack.
It's
It's a lot of divrei Torah also inside. It's like
It's not that.
Torah said Baal Shem Tov, like what the Baal Shem Tov said to the Mordechai, what the Mordechai said to the Chaim.
Detail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's really, really kedai to learn.
want to be
That's hence the story. Because in the camps, in the Chabad camps, for 70, 80 years, the neshama wears and tears, just to do a favor for another, love him with all your heart.
Well, you got the song?
Ali was going to make a kumsitz for us.
You want